Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now, back with another part of this series. Now, one thing I want you to understand that remember, if you new here, the term little ugly is not talking about a unattractive person. It's the name that I have given the spirit that I'm talking about. And again, what I'm talking about is not describing a label like a narcissist or a covert narcissist. That is not a term. I'm not a clinician using terms. I'm going through different attributes and traits of these type of people. No one person may have all of this, and some people may just have one trait, but with each trait, I want you to pay attention to it so that if you have dealt with it or you're dealing with it or you're gonna deal with it, you're ready. And again, this is not about anybody specific. Some people are still stuck in the past and all of that, or associating it with different people. This is for men, for women. This person who is carrying this spirit could be tall, could be light, could be dark, could be short, could be white, could be black. So understand that. Now, and before we get into it too, remember, check the link in the description box. That is the the investment opportunity to the YouTube channel with Gigastar, my partner Gigastar. This opportunity is SEC regulated, Securities and Exchange Commission regulated. So all questions have to be asked over there on the actual page. So click the link in the description either now and then come back to the video or after the video. Now, one thing I want you to think about with this spirit is this spirit. One of the main attributes with this spirit is it craves. It has a craving, a lot of lust. And with this lust, this may go into the area of nasty movies. And if not nasty movies, then it may be just a physical act. Now, sometimes this spirit is often in people who may have some type of childhood trauma, and it's playing on that childhood trauma. It could also be adulthood trauma or an experience that someone got into. Now, with this type of man, and of course this could be a woman, but I'm gonna say man just because I'm a man, is just easier, and I just notice it being more men doing this than women, although there are women who is operating this way. But with this type of man, you have where this lust makes the man untrustworthy. So everything is great after the test, like what we talked about. Outside of the test, there will be an abundance of sweetness, meaning an abundance of great conversation and great whatever if you pass the test. So if you pass those little tests to where you show that you're worthy in the eyes of this person, then they'll start to treat you better, but they're only treating you better to get you, to lull you to sleep. Rockabye baby. So they're rocking you to sleep. They're getting you to drop your guards. And one of the things you're gonna notice, this person is gonna be flirtatious. So if you're a woman and you bring your female friend around this guy, he's gonna look at her a little strong. He gonna laugh, and it might not be overly, but he gonna laugh. He gonna definitely try to shake her hand, might try to give her a little hug, even if it's a church hug. And then he want to kiki and all this, might even want to pretend he got to ask her a question about her industry or her job and ask you for permission right in front of her. Like, hey, can I connect with her and talk to her? I want to connect her with my sister or with my cousin. And he may try something like that. Now, if this spirit goes both ways, then the same thing will happen. If you bring your brother around, or if you got a homeboy, might be overly, even if it's not about intimacy with the man, just trying to be close to the man, trying to be like a non-intimate bromance and just real close. Because what this spirit craves is a lot of energy, a lot of people. Because what we'll talk about later in another part of this series is how when this person is playing the victim, they'll actually get your sister or your brother or your mother or your father or your best friend on their side to go against you. So you got to be aware. And when you meet people, you meet them. When you meet people, you meet them out in public. You meet them in public and you make sure you're not being followed home, and you take months. Like the person should meet none of your friends or none of your family for like the first 3 months. You could tell all your friends about the person. Give the first and last name, give the every information, Google, research all of that. If it's somebody with a Wikipedia, then give it out now to friends and family so they know who you dealing with in case you come up missing. Now, this spirit on average is not the type the way you're gonna come up missing. Will you get touched without your permission? Yes, maybe. Will there be some real slick, kind of freaky, nasty stuff said? Most likely. But being like really violent, no, only if you play with the spirit too long. So you got to be able to recognize it quick and early. So somebody without this spirit, your friends and family might not like them because they may be just straight and narrow, just very, hey, how you doing? Great to meet you. But not trying to suck up, not trying to do all of that. So don't get too caught. Oh man, I forgot I had a had a call with this company, but I mean they ain't paying me, so I'll let them reschedule. There's another little company I'm trying to use. So don't get too, because sometimes when people don't suck up and they not kissing behind, your friends and family might be like, I don't know if they're like, they look real, staunch and stank and rude, which is a red flag if the person has the other attributes. Because what you have to realize is the spirit in this person look ugly. This little ugly spirit could be in an extrovert, but it also could be in an introvert, so it's going to show up differently. So if somebody is an introvert and they real subtle with meeting people, it's nothing wrong with that if everything else checks out and they not showing a bunch of other red flags. But they could be straight up and down and real chill, but then they got them other red flags. And somebody could be super bubbly and everybody love the person, but then they got them other red flags. So you are the one person who get to see them behind closed doors alone, and you get to see them out in public and meeting other people. And what this spirit love to do now is get allies. This spirit love to kiss some behind, to get allies, so that when it shows its fangs, when this person show their fangs and do what they gonna do, nobody suspects it. Nobody wants to believe it. Everybody wants to look at this person as innocent, as harmless. And your own mama might come to you and be like, you making a mistake. You making a mistake. Why you want, that's a good man. That is a good man. And you like, mama, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what are you talking about? How do you know he a good man? All you do is meet him when we come over here to eat. You ain't got to go home with him. You ain't got to be around him all the time. I know a good man when I see one. Ain't no man gonna be perfect. That man is a good man. And your mama has been won because he come over and mow her lawn. He come over and clean her gutters around the house. He come over and he just Mr. Handy. He handy mandy. He might get in the kitchen and pretend he learning her favorite dish that she like to cook. He will play on the emotion. Now remember, invert this now. This could be a woman too. So just remember, you got to stay up there now with me. Don't be slow brained it. Well, why this go both ways? See, you just pander to the whip. Just invert it. Okay, hush. I just got you out the comments. Just right there, got you together. Be quiet. So now you got to deal with this, and you like, okay, now this is the thing with this spirit. It has uncontrollable lust. I mentioned that before, but what I mean by this is this spirit will sleep with your sister. Don't let your sister have a lot of trauma or have been like a stripper that sold her body while stripping. I ain't talking about just went in there and danced, but like sold her body. She'll get slept with. Don't let your mama have been a stripper and got a lot of trauma. She'll get slept with. Don't let your uh what you would call it, well, not, yeah, your gay best friend. If you're a woman and you got a gay best friend, a guy, and he gay, he'll get slept with. Because this spirit right here, see, the one thing about a demonic spirit, almost everybody who go both ways or are homosexual have a spirit. They have a spirit operating in them because that's what that spirit does. The spirit perverts from the inside out, and the spirit is set up to work in a way that what it is doing is damaging, but there's no fruit from it. Meaning, if a man sleeping with a man, they having a soul, they creating a soul tie and they passing STDs, but they can't replenish the earth. They can't add no kids for the kingdom. Same thing with a woman and a woman. So that's a spiritual thing. It ain't just, oh, born this way. So the same thing with this spirit. That's why a lot of times people with this spirit, no matter how beautiful they are or how handsome they are or how whatever, you might sense some other sexual immorality other than just being a flirt or sleeping around. You may sense a little bit of what else you getting into. And so you have to be mindful. You got to be watchful. You can't be desperate. You got to pump the brakes. You cannot be desperate. And if you are a single parent, especially if you're a woman and this is a man, hide your kids. Hide your kids. When you getting to know somebody, they definitely shouldn't meet your kids within inside of 3 months. But if you start to notice these traits, that person, just until you all the way sure that this person don't have the spirit a little ugly on them, they can't meet your kid for 12 months. Because you got to remember now, your child don't really know, and your child might be jealous or what have you. So you ain't really looking to no child opinion about no adult inside of 12 months. And this person, they ain't got to marry your child. They got to marry you. So who you love, if you be in love, your child gonna be okay eventually. They might not like the idea at first because change is different, and they may have somebody that could see the games that they running on you, and they don't want nobody to tip you off to, hey, your son or your daughter really playing you like a fool. So be mindful of that, but stretch out meeting your kids for as long as possible because you are the adult, you the front line of defense. This spirit will come in and touch your daughter. I done seen it happen. And they will get close with your daughter or your son. They will touch your son. This man will touch your son. This man will touch your daughter. But what you have to worry about with this spirit is it ain't always physical. Sometimes with this spirit, it's a mental thing. They want people mind. They want to mind warp people. They want people to be mind warped so that if you introduce your child to somebody with this spirit, they'll have your child thinking that they are savior and they the best friend, and then you'll be at home crying one day, or you talk to your child and say, I think me and such not gonna be, friends anymore if you calling it that. And then they like, your child will be like, why? I love Mr. Johnny. It could be your son or your daughter who's saying this now. It ain't got to be opposite genders. I love Mr. Johnny. I love, Mr. Mr. Tom. He's so nice. He always bring me glazed donuts, and he was playing catch with me. Like, what are you talking about? You don't like him? Like, you just jealous. You don't want nobody to like me. You don't want nobody. Ever since daddy left or ever since daddy died, you don't want nobody to like me. And that's what that spirit will do. It builds allies. If it's not your child, it's going to be your best friend. If it's not your best friend, it's going to be one of your parents or whoever in your life. They're going to build an ally. They could end up being a absolutely, they got you so mind warped and you so lost and just so flipping over, but nobody else could see it. And then, treat you good. And then what they would do is once they get people that are a super ally, they could actually socially abuse you in front of those people, and those people will write it off as a joke because they will look at the person's what they think is the man or woman's heart, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is a joke." Like, why you being so sensitive? They'll be telling you, "Why you being so sensitive? Why you being so sensitive?" But you know, this person just tried to say something to make you look dumb. Like they trying to insinuate that you're not smart at all, or you're not smart as them. But they did it in a way that kind of throw the rock, hide their hand. And so now you sitting there and you like, what's going on, and you hurt, you offended, but then people telling you, oh, you insecure, oh, you insecure. So you always have to, you gotta check your spirit and you gotta check your trauma. So if you know we on the phone every week, we talking for an hour, you and your life coach, so you doing your work, you know your head on straight, then don't get Jedi mind tricked. Now, if you know you're not doing the work, if you know you ain't did the healing, now you could be operating from a place of insecurity. So you got to be mindful of it. But I want you to understand now, this spirit like to just pluck off humans, because the goal, and I'm gonna do another video, Lord willing, I remember, I might have to shoot it right after this. The goal of this spirit is it want to pluck you off. It meaning take you away from God, get you in fornication. It want to get you in fornication, if not fornication, because there's people with this spirit who will be abstinent. But if they warp your mind, you can't focus on the things of God. Your heart is separated from God because you are anxiety ridden. You are worrying. You being gaslit. You being made to feel like you're the abuser. The person is always the victim. So it has you in a state to where you operating outside of the fruits of the spirit because of what they doing. And that is also punishment for you saying you're not ready to have sex. You don't even have to say, I'm saving myself until marriage. And you might not want to say that out the gate because that might turn them up on a whole nother level with a game and a trick that you ain't never even thought about they were going to do. And so they will punish you for your abstinence, for your walk with God, if they got that spirit. So you got to be patient. You got to be diligent, you got to be vigilant, you got to be mindful, not demure and demurcy, but you just got to be mindful and you got to be watchful, and you have to be able to take your time. Because one of the things I noticed, especially with women, I don't notice this really with men, because on average, just for y'all to know, it take a man on average 2 years to fall in love. It don't matter his upbringing, don't matter nothing about him. It take a man on average 2 years to fall in love. He might have love for you in 6 months, but to fall in love, even for a good man who is solid and raised right, take him about 2 years, sometimes 3 at the most. It's gonna take for a good man is 5 years. So you understand that. But one thing I see about women is women be so desperate that soon as they meet a man, it's like, oh, this the one, he the one, this the Prince Charming, this who I've been waiting on. You can't do that. Outside of talking to that man and spending time with that man, you have to occupy your time. You got to be busy. Like you working, then you working out, you writing your book, you starting your nonprofit, your charity, you starting your for-profit, your LLC, you doing your vision board, you doing your dream board, you doing your business plan. You are completely busy. Boom, shower, wash your face, nighttime routine, bed. Just like that. You can't sit and fantasize about this man, because this spirit will make you fantasize about them, or just think about them by playing the mind tricks. And there may be a little bit of, so you either gonna get what y'all like to call love bombing, or it'll be the opposite. See, you got to understand that it should be in the middle. It should be in moderation. See, decency and in order is moderation. If it's a whole bunch, that's a red flag. And if it's like nothing, that's a red flag. It should be in moderation. And that's what you got to understand, because what goes up comes down. So if you're getting a whole bunch of praise, whole bunch of praise, whole bunch of praise, a lot of times that's to set you up. Because even people without this spirit do this. That's to set you up for when they finna be mean, for when they finna break you down. So you got to be mindful of this and take your time and hide your children, hide your sisters, your brothers, hide everybody, because anybody with an entry is enterable. When I say an entry, meaning a body part that's a hole, this spirit will try to dive off in there, because what this spirit likes is the physical touch. Because what this spirit understands is that God doesn't want us physical until we're in covenant. So the goal of this spirit is to be physical without a covenant, because when you physical without a covenant, you are separated from God. So that's the goal of this spirit. Now, here's the thing about a spirit. A spirit can inhabit somebody without their permission, but it inhabits them based on what their experience is. It could inhabit them from being touched as a child. It could inhabit them from what they watch on their phone or their laptop, or what they listen to, or who they hang around. It does not always mean that the human being is intentionally trying to do damage. This is spiritual warfare. So you got to realize and understand this, and you got to make sure that you guard people. Because see, one of the things, and that's one thing about this spirit now, this spirit gonna want to be best friends with somebody in your family. Want to be I ain't talking about hit them up every now and then, talk to them every now and then, not even like 5 minutes a week, 15 minutes a week, even 30 minutes a week might be cool. But I'm talking about best friends, but not just being best friends and being nice, but also having other traits, having other little slick slide traits. And so in this, it's either going to blow your head up so it could bust your bubble, or it's going to suck the air out you so you feeling deflated. One end of the spectrum or the other. And that's what you got to realize this. And now listen, let me tell y'all something, okay? Because I be seeing y'all studious individuals on these videos. So yeah, what Tony is describing is this spirit, or what Tony is describing is the first level of the such and such of such and such from Psychology 9199. Listen, I'm not describing none of that. What I'm describing is what God gave me. So what God gave me, don't give me somebody else's title, because we ain't putting no titles on this. We describing the attributes, but we're not worrying about if this is in psychology, if this is in something else, because guess what? I ain't studied none of that. So that's how you know that the Holy Spirit is real. So if I'm describing something that they teach in somebody's school, guess what? I ain't took that class and I ain't read that book. I'm taking from the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, and the discernment and the discretion from the Holy Spirit. And this is how I know this is real. And if you don't know it's real, you better tread lightly. You better tread lightly. Watch yourself now, because guess what? I seen this spirit out and at work, but I never looked within. I didn't go within and look closer. And I had posted it on the community page, but I deleted it. But because I say I'm not finna be driving stuff that way. But I had posted about, I was talking about, I seen this spirit. But then somebody emailed me an exact example, and I had never even looked. I just could see the spirit in the eyes, and just in the body language, and just in the voice tone, and just in like one question, I could see the spirit. And so that's what you got to realize, is when you really tap in, you're going to see this spirit from a mile away. You ain't got to sit down and really do too much engaging with this spirit, because this spirit honestly will start to change the way somebody sit, the way somebody laugh, the way somebody smile, the way somebody talk. because it'll be like you know that it. Listen, I don't like these kind of movies, but I done seen the what you call it, the trailers. You know how when you see them trailers for them scary movies and the person have a demon, how they contort, like they body contort or they face contort. And so this actually happens to a degree. This actually happens to a degree. Like sometimes people who have this spirit, like they smile might be crooked. They smile might be crooked or something of that nature. Like it'll catch you off guard, and something like even how they sit sometimes. So, but here's the thing. You got to wake up and read your Bible. If you're not waking up and read your Bible, and especially you need to be reading everything Jesus said, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, even though it's the same story repeated from different angles 4 times, you need to read it. But especially what Jesus said. And you're going to see the attributes of these demons too, because you're going to see where Jesus was casting out these demons, and you're going to see where sometimes the demon made the person roar, the demon made the person yell, the demon come out of the person, then went into the animals and then ran the animals off a cliff. Like these spirits got to get active. They got to get active. Like, so when you meet somebody and they have certain little, like they have some of these attributes, and they may have something that's just really like they just like they chew their nails all day, or they bite their jaw all day, and it's mixed with these other, they might actually pick their sores. They might pick their sores. They might scratch themselves. It's just something to where they might suck their thumb. Like it's something that spirit being inhabiting that person, it gives them like a type of quirk or twitch. Now, again, and y'all know what? I have to take my time on this stuff, because if I leave out one thing, people be confused and people be trying to poke holes, and they be looking for something to misunderstand, looking for something to. So understand that you could do those things and not have this spirit. So don't feel like, oh, Tony, you trying to say I got a spirit a little ugly because I suck my thumb. No, that's not what it means. What I'm saying is that could be a sign if it is combined with these, a combination of some of these other attributes that I'm explaining in these videos. So that's what I'm saying, that sometimes this spirit is a literal demonic spirit. See, I ain't in all of this, I'm not talking about a literal demonic spirit. It could just be a warp in somebody's personality. It could be they was misraised. It could be that they had some trauma, or they was disrespected or mistreated in another relationship. So this ain't all just a literal demonic spirit. So you got to understand the caveats and nuances, and really kind of wrap your head around some things and just kind of pause. And one thing I'm going to tell you too is, when you listen to these videos, listen to it with undivided attention, pause it and take notes. If you listen to it if you already listened to it while you were sleeping, or while you was working, or while you was driving. So each one of these videos in this series, you need to listen to it at least 2-3 times. Get it in your spirit. Like, don't be in such a rush that you got to jump to the next video. Get in your spirit and create the time, because guess what? You're going to be extremely excited and happy that you got this in your mind and heart when you meet somebody with this spirit. When you meet somebody with this spirit and you able to pick it up, and you see the games, you see the perversion, because it might not be games. Like, it might not be games of like saying I'm gonna call it, not call it. It might just be a overly abundance of perversion. Like, let me give you an example. It could be, let me see what this. I'm on 2G. I'm like, why this thing keep showing me? I'm on my 2G, not my 5G. It could be like y'all at dinner, and it's just like, they might be like, I can't do the woman one because the stuff she'll say, I'm not finna let that come out my mouth and then be on somebody edited up video of me trying to misappropriate my stuff. But let's say it's a man, he might be like, y'all sitting there, y'all getting ready to order. And he might be like, oh yes, can I have the filet mignon and the asparagus? And the waiter be like, okay, cool. Do you want a dessert today? Would you like a dessert? No, thank you. I got plenty to eat over there for dessert right in front of me. If you know what I mean. Like, just might be just nasty. They're just sitting there, and this could be the first date. This could be like second or third date. Like, it might be a over abundance of perversion, but yet the saying I'm gonna call and not calling might not be the case. So what it is remember, one end of the spectrum or the other. See, maturity is balance. Maturity is balance. So when somebody does things in moderation, then that means they have balance. So when they right down the middle with it, to where, yeah, they might get on your nerves a little bit, but it's just their personality. It's not malicious. But they also gonna be nice and kind and prompt and responsible and responsive. And so you like, okay, this just a human, like I'm dealing with a human. But when it's on one end of the spectrum, like it's way too good to be true, or the other end of the spectrum to where it's like, man, this is way too nonchalant, like this way too chill. What's going on? So now you got to be mindful and you got to be aware. And so I want you to think about that. And y'all forgive me about that reference I made earlier from that lady about that Demore, because I think somebody said it. I don't know if that's a lady. Well, I think it's like I don't know what the person looked like, but y'all forgive me if you know for that right there. I just keep seeing that and hearing that. Y'all forgive me. But think about this and get your notebook. You might need to get your notebook. Now, you ain't got to write little ugly on the notebook because I don't want you to have, be having spirits all on your notebook and stuff. But you could put whatever, the studies, relationship studies. I'm calling this the spirit of deception but it could be the spirit of manipulation. It could be the spirit of coercion. It could be the spirit of confusion. And remember now, gonna be a victim. If not the victim, that's one end of the spectrum. If not the victim, gonna be the attacker. Gonna be in attack mode, making you feel very 2 inches tall. Gonna project. The spirit will project. This spirit will connect because the spirit has a rally cry. So that when you recognize it and you ready to kick it out your life, they're gonna create a rally cry to where they bring people together. They bring people together and try to have them defend their honor, and they're gonna be the victim so that everybody comes to you and tell you crazy for trying to break up with them. You shouldn't be doing this. You the problem. You all of this and you to that. And they're gonna tell you the problem because they can't see this other person and what this person do behind closed doors, because this person then got them to fall in love. But now that you think about it, you like, now I can see that crooked smile. Now, and when I say crooked, I ain't talking about teeth structure. I'm just talking about like that little deceptive smile. Now I could see, okay, now I could see that quirk. Now I could see that spirit. So think about this now. And make sure you click the link in the description. Go check it out. Read all about it. Got a thing on there called a Form C. Check that out. I haven't checked it today or yesterday, so I need to go check and see where we at. Hopefully we get to the minimum. There is a deadline. You'll see the deadline on there. I don't know offhand how many days is left. I think last I checked, it was 22 days, but I ain't checked today or yesterday. So check it out. All the questions, you're going to see the question. I got to go after this and answer some more questions because a few came in today, I think. So I'm going to answer some more questions. And if you have a question, write a question on there. And If we mess around and now I don't think we know what near like the max, because you have like the goal that you got to hit and then you have a max, but the max is, it's far off. So we should be good. And I hope you can join me and partake in the future earnings of the channel. Thank you for your support. We are getting ready. I'm feeling the strength of the Lord, and to just go deeper on this spiritual warfare in this relationship space. And I'm gonna do another video on the goal of Lil Ugly, that spirit, Lil Ugly, the goal of this spirit and why this spirit uses people to work against God. I'm gonna help you understand the goal of it. And we gonna touch on that. I got to see if I could do that today. I'm ready to go home and relax. So I might film it and then so it'll go up tomorrow. But hey, God bless you. This Tony Gaskins. And again, thank you so much for joining me on the partnership with Gigastar. We'll talk soon.